Welcome to this 31-day walkthrough the book Master Your Money Mindset in 31 Days by myself, Michael Deere. I help people move past limiting beliefs to achieve their goals and reach their dreams. And the reason behind writing this book was not really for the ultra rich or those who have found their way to disposable income, but it's really developed for the person who is making money, maybe making a little less money than they would want, all the way up to making a lot of money. However, realizing that it's not necessarily how much money you make, it's more so about how much money you keep. So that is the focus of this book, and that's the focus of this walkthrough on the book. I hope to give you some insight that will help you multiply its effect in your life so that you can finally live in the financial independence and financial freedom that you deserve. So, as we move forward, it's important to understand that this is not a walkthrough, or neither is this a book that will teach you options or internet marketing or any other method of making money, because you can go find that so easily online. Just doing a simple Google search for how to make money with minimal work. You can do a search for all of those search questions or queries, and you'll find what you're looking for. But my focus is to help you develop the mindset to not only make more money, but keep more money. So, as we go through day one, we come to a very important topic: mastering the mindset that keeps the money that you earn and multiplies it. And that is the concept of financial literacy. Financial literacy is the ability to understand, to write, and to read financial terms, and more specifically, a financial spreadsheet. I love what Robert Kiyosaki said. He said, just as words help you to read a story, learning financial terms helps you to be able to read a spreadsheet and put together the story of finances, to be able to put together the story of a business's finances, your personal finance, or any other financial document or outlook, based on you being able to read all of the line items of a financial statement, understand the terms, and understand how the different factors and ledger items affect one another. So I like to think of it like this. Imagine how much of the world is hidden from a person that does not know how to read. You imagine a person walking through life just one day in a busy city landscape, and they're surrounded by signs, and all of these signs have pertinent information on them that can decide a person's freedom, their liberties, define what is legal and illegal. Yet a person who can't read any of these things, all of that is hidden to them. That's a pretty terrifying position to be in. It's an anxious position to be in, because um, you don't really know if what you're doing is the right thing. And it's the same way when you consider a person trying to master their finances without financial literacy. So I believe it is the most important step in your journey to mastering your money mindset. And so that's why it was placed first, because it's really the foundation that you need to build on. And so, as we look at the first challenge, subscribe to a financial magazine or newsletter. When an individual asks, well, why do I have to subscribe to a financial magazine or newsletter? It's simply because there is a world called financial literacy that you won't be a part of unless you immerse yourself into that world by getting beyond the paywall of a subscription to a financial magazine. Now you have so many. You have the Wall Street Journal, you have Investor Business Daily, and you have Money Magazine. Those are all great publications that you can subscribe to, and and when they do come, actually read them and look at the different terms, read the terms, take a moment to go through the dictionary, a financial dictionary, and learn them so you could actually grow in your financial literacy. And if I personally suggest you spend money on this, get some skin in the game, understand and know that any opportunity try to you try to grab hold of, it's going to require sacrifice. And sure, you can take hold of opportunities without making a financial sacrifice. However, I think I believe you deepen the the passion, you deepen the discipline, the seriousness that you place, the priorities you place on making a difference and change when you actually have some skin in the game, when you've actually paid for something. So, that being said, you do have the choice to do a general Google search to find a free business newsletter and try it that way. I just want to help you move to the next phase. Day number 2, your net worth. This is a term that some may know and some may not know. You probably would know what a net worth is, but maybe not your personal net worth. And that's what this day 2 is all about. It's all about discovering, finding out your net worth. Now, I will caution you, people who usually try to figure this out, when they do figure it out, it is an eye opener to calculate your net worth. How much are you really worth? Now, I'm not talking about how much you're worth to friends and family and people who love, know, and respect you, because your worth to them is, that's right, priceless. However, when you distill all that you are, who you are, to just a number, a dollar amount on a piece of paper, it has an it has an amazing, stark, just serious wake up call effect when you actually find that number out. I mean, I believe that just finding your net worth and finding out how much or even how little, most times, your net worth is, will inspire you and stimulate you to want to make some financial changes to take your net worth into another bracket. And so, just to go over it, your net worth, of course, is what you're left with, the way I explain it in the book, after your assets and your liabilities duke it out. After they fight what you owe and what you pay compared to what you earn and what is due you, what's left after that, your assets, your liabilities, you really get a number of your net worth. And once you have that, you will see how good, how bad, how ugly, how far, or how close you are to your goal. Okay, so the challenge for this day is to actually calculate your net worth, and I promise you, it will be a challenge worth taking, because once you find that number, you will know where you are specifically and accurately. financially, and therefore know how to make your next step in your financial journey. Day 3, bad debts. As we begin this conversation about a looming monster who terrorizes the entire financial landscape, yet some have found a way to wrangle a leash around this monster and use it for their own good. And this monster, of course, is called credit. Now, if you don't have that leash or you don't have that handle on how to use credit, it can run you ragged. For some people, even before they establish good credit, they establish bad credit. And it takes them years, sometimes decades, to dig themselves out of having a wrecked credit report. So, if, however, you can use credit the way it was meant to be used, not necessarily using credit for bailing you out when you don't have, but credit is really supposed to be used when you don't need it. And I know it's a weird paradox, but hopefully we'll get into that pretty soon. But there's a difference between bad debt and good debt, and essentially the difference between good debt and bad debt, as I explained in the book, is that a bad debt is used to acquire something that decreases in value, whereas a good debt is a debt that is used to acquire something that goes up in value, and we call those assets and liabilities. So the next time you come close to a credit card, the next time you come close to a line of credit, the next time you open an application that was randomly unsolicited sent to you through some third-party channel, I want you to really take a moment and think about it. Will this debt, if you are approved and you do get it, is it a good debt or is it a bad debt? Will it be a good debt or will it be a bad debt? And only the end result of what you will use it for determines it. Okay, and we'll go more into that as we consider a stimulating topic later on in the days. So, 3 things I want to remind you of from the book is that when you minimize bad debts, your expenses will be lower, your credit score will improve, and you will make more room for good credit usage. If you hadn't picked up a copy of the book, this would be a great time to do it so that you can follow along and read the details of all 3 of those areas. The challenge for the day is identify 1 good debt and 1 bad debt in your life. And I love this challenge because you're forced to think about debts not in terms of the dollar amount, but you're forced to think about the debt in terms of what they were used to buy or purchase or what they were used for, right? Was it used for something that it would bring income into your life or something that would remove income from your life? And that simply means, is it something that are using credit for something that will appreciate or something that will depreciate? So as you go through that challenge, you will realize the difference between the debts. And my hope is that you will be placed in a better position. You'll have a better mindset when it comes to your next credit opportunity. Day 4, why money? On the back of the book, I have a quote from Zig Ziglar who says, "Money isn't everything, but it sure is important." And he goes on a little further to say it just ranks up there with water and oxygen. Even the scriptures tell us that money answereth all things. So, regardless of your position in life or your priorities in life, there is a reality that money is necessary. If you have a dream to do anything, money is necessary. Now, I'm of the opinion, and this is what I also share and teach people, that money is not to be chased after. Money is a tool. So you don't go around chasing hammers, do you? No. You acquire a hammer, and then what do you do with the hammer? Do you frame it and hide it away because it's so valuable or so wonderful? No. You take the hammer out and you build things. And that's essentially what money is supposed to be used for, and how we should condition our minds to treat money, because the scriptures also say that the love of money is the root of all evil. See, money is not the root of all evil, it is the love of money. Okay? When we make money more than just a tool, it derails us and derails our values. So, why money? Why is money important? Well, in day 4, I bring us through a journey of exploring 3 benefits that money brings. And now we know that money doesn't buy happiness, and I'm a strong believer in that. Money does not buy happiness, but there are 3 things that money does buy. All right. And the first thing is money does buy quality. Quality. Yes. If any of you have gone to Dollar Tree lately, or any of these 99-cent discount stores, and you made the mistake like I used to make, and think that you could get all of your household items covered for just $30 and your whole house is taken care of. And then as you're cooking with some of these utensils, and the fork breaks, or the utensil that you're using, it succumbs to the fate of being bad and cheap quality, then you really begin to see the difference between things that are no good quality and things that are good quality. And then you realize that it's important for you to be in a position to afford quality, because buying 10 cheap things is not the same as buying one thing that is better than 10 cheap things. Because on top of the 10 cheap things, you also have the frustration and the time that you spend to go get another cheap thing, when you could just spend the money on quality. It saves you time, it saves you frustration. Those are the things you do not see when you look at the price tag. The second thing money buys is access. There are so many skilled, talented, insightful individuals in this world who would love to share all of their knowledge, wisdom, share all of their experiences with everyone. However, there's something called a limitation of time, and just don't have the ability to share everything with every single person. And because of that, certain people who have a skill, certain people who have a specialized knowledge, they've realized that they have to charge for their information. They have to charge for access to that knowledge that they've built up, devoted themselves and their life to for decades at a time, sacrificing to gain this status in the industry that they currently have. And so money does buy access to the resources, the wisdom that is needed, the specialized knowledge and experience that a person, a professional, an expert can bring to the table. And it's important for uh, us to be able to access knowledge that we don't currently possess. So remember that money does buy access. And lastly, money does buy options. Money allows you to make a choice. And sometimes having a choice can save you years of your life, especially when you think about the choice of your child going to public school versus a coveted seat at an academy or a private school, the difference between the insurance that you can afford. So many things depend on your access to quality and options. So, the challenge for the day is write down what quality, access, and options mean to you. Day 5. This story that we go through is a cute little anecdote about a husband and wife. It highlights a really important part of mastering your money mindset, and that's overcoming your emotions. And that's why it's called emotional wallet, because when your wallet is emotional, your wallet will have losses. When your wallet is not emotional, your wallet will be disciplined and will retain what is in it. And so the husband brings home an item that he was emotionally attached to. And anyone that has studied sales, you know that sales is all emotion. You know that if you're going to be a salesman or saleswoman, or a marketer, using the general term, you have to be in touch with both your emotional side and the emotional priorities of the person that you're advertising to. Because purchasing, I don't care what anyone tells you, it is an emotional experience. You make the purchase with your emotions, then you try to justify it with logic. That's how it happens. So it's important for you and I to always have a meter evaluating how emotional we get when confronting different purchases. And one little trick that I use for myself, and perhaps this could work for you, everyone is different, but in many ways we are the same. When I desperately want something, I always question my desire, because I don't know if you've ever had this experience where you want everything. You want this and you want that, and you can't have it all. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So I've learned that whenever I desperately want something, it's important for me to wait 24 hours. So I would bookmark the page if it's something that really hit me. And most times, if something really hits you, it's because someone has studied you. Someone has gathered enough data to profile your exact temperament, your attitude, things you're into, what pushes your buttons, what strokes your ego, things of that nature. So if the individual who is selling or marketing something to you is worth their weight, then they've done their research on you. And that's the reason why you and I should take a second, take a day, take 24 hours and let it cool down, and with a cooler head, with less passion in the mix of your decision, still, let me put it like this, not want, but still tell yourself that you need this. You need this new sneaker, or you need this new instrument, or you need this new program, or you need this new uh, book or video. Make sure that after that cool down period, the need has been consistent and you can see the value outside of your emotions for this thing that you'd so desperately wanted. Okay, so let's go to the challenge. challenge for the day is say no to one tantalizing purchase for the next 7 days. Ooh, I love it. Say no to one tantalizing purchase for the next 7 days. And that means for the next 7 days, each day you find one purchase to decline, one purchase to say no to. Depending on how much of a shopper you are, this could be an easy challenge or it could be the worst challenge of your life. But regardless, it will teach you to come face to face with your own desires. It will teach you how to scrutinize and evaluate what you feel you need and turn them into being honest and calling them what they are. They're just wants. But that's what this challenge does and calls us to evaluate. And my hope is that as you go through those days of saying no to tantalizing purchases, that you will develop the strength to withstand even the strongest emotions when it comes to buying. Day 6, don't spend, invest. And as I said earlier in our discussion about bad debt, using your credit to buy something that would increase in value had a completely different effect than using your credit to buy something that decreases in value. And it really leads us into this greater topic that is discussed in day 6, the difference between spending and investing. Now, let me take a moment to just acknowledge the currently accepted definitions for spending and investing. So, spending is usually used to highlight the exchange of money for something else, right? And investing is usually used as a term to put something in for the speculation or expectation of a gain. I just wanted to acknowledge those definitions because I have a different way of looking at spending and investing. And it follows along the same lines, but if you stay with me, you'll see the difference in why it matters. So when you spend money, let's talk about your money, because this could also be applied to your words or your time or anything that is of value to you. When you spend your money, spend your time, spend your words on things that do not produce an opportunity to gain more of the same, then you have just spent it. Because if you spend your money on something that will not bring back any other money to you, then you have spent it. You've brought it from whatever number you found it at, and you brought it down to zero. There are no creative opportunities. So that is my definition of spending versus investing. Now, if you take that same money and you apply it to something that has the potential for financial return, then that is called investing. And of course, in the traditional illustration or image of investing, we get that. But did you know that buying a salad versus buying a Cinnabon, one is spending and the other is an investment? And yes, it may seem like an extremely minute example, but it proves the point. When you consume a Cinnabon, and that's what we talk about in this embarrassing example of myself at a travel rest stop, when you purchase a Cinnabon, it's really for the delight. It really has no nutritional value. It doesn't propel you propel you through walls because you fueled your body. However, when you consume a salad, you're giving your body nutrients, you're giving your body fiber and water. So um, you're putting your body in a better position. And if you're at work, then the benefits could be immediate once you eat a salad for lunch versus eating junk food or processed food. And so, one of them, you're spending your money because you didn't get any type of return on that or any type of investment, improvement in that. But the other, you fueled your body, and especially if you're at work, it could help you by boosting your energy. And boosting your energy most times means boosting your attitude as well. And a better attitude gets you paid. Man, that should have been day 32. So when we consider the challenge, identify moments when you spent versus invested. So take a look at a time where you, instead of investing your money in something that could get you some advantageous return, you spent your money. That means you held your hand out and exchanged it for something that had no prospect of bringing any more money back to you. Day 7. A topic that I love. Who doesn't want to talk about residual income? Once I learned about this financial concept in 1999, my life changed. When I realized for the first time that you could do something one time and get paid over and over and over and over again. And I credit um, I credit all of the trainers, the teachers, the mentors that uh, had shown me how residual income could change your life. I really am I'm blessed to have uh, been a part of organizations and around people who were able to help me broaden my financial horizon. So residual income is different from linear income, and that's job income that most Americans are used to. We're used to what is called trading dollars for hours, and uh, you go to work for 8 hours, and then you get paid 8 hours worth of money. Unfortunately, if you hit your foot on the edge of a chair or a molding and you can't go into work, then you can't get paid. But residual income, on the other hand, is an income structure where you do the work one time, and then because of the way you set your income up or the way you set your vehicle up, you could sit back and watch the payment vehicle pay you over and over and over again, regardless if you're able to do that work again or not. And that completely changed my life because I realized that you can find an area of your life where you can offer value. And if that value is good, that value is quote unquote valuable enough, then it could position you for residual income. It can cause other people to pay you over and over for the work that you have done once. So, three what is it? Yeah, three tips on how to move into this area called residual income. Number one is putting information into a format for widespread distribution. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Uh, I can have this conversation, I can have this walkthrough with 1,000 people one on one, and of course, it'll be bespoke and customized to the individual. However, I'd be burned out. But putting this walkthrough in a format that can be distributed worldwide and accessed on demand is a no brainer because it allows me to move on to another area where I feel I can contribute to humanity while this work is still able to be accessed. The second tip is to build a distribution network of sales representatives through which you get an override. So, if you have something that's valuable and you train a workforce or you train a sales force and you create a compensation plan where their work gives you an override, that means you get a percentage of the work that they do, then you're positioning yourself for residual income. I love the words of J. Paul Getty. He said, why would you do 100% of the work when you can have 100 people doing 1% of the work? Right? That's something called leverage. Thirdly, you can license your intellectual property in exchange for a royalty. So, in this digital age, intellectual property is becoming more and more of an asset because technology allows us to capitalize on digital assets, and now we're able to monetize digital assets. That means put money on, get paid for digital assets. And so one of the ways that people get paid for something that's digital, that is not physical but is in the digital space, is through trademarks, is through patents and licensing, copyrights. So that's one thing. If you're an artist or you're a creator, that would be a great way to start and engage in residual income. So the challenge for today is Google royalty income or residual income. And as I said before, you will see a whole list of influencers and experts that have information on how to start residual income and business ideas that you can do for residual income. But like I said, I must stay focused on the theme of this book, which is helping you to develop the mindset that not only makes more money, but keeps more money. Day 8, protect, save, and build. There are 3 pillars to every financial plan. Those pillars will help you to be confident, help you to remove frustration and anxiety from your life. And the 3 pillars are protect, save, and build. Protect. Many people think that as soon as you get money, the first thing you should do is gamble it, trying to make more money. While this does sound like a great idea at first sight, the most important thing that you should be considering is protecting what you already have. And I know that some may feel like, well, I don't have anything to protect. I feel you on that. However, you're not supposed to stay in the thinking of your present or where you are right now. It's important for you to think where you want to be, or think like the person you want to be. Think from the position of where you want to be. So that means that right now you should be thinking about the time where you do have assets that you need to protect. So learning how to protect your wealth is an important key to keeping more of it. And again, mastering your money mindset is not just about making more money, but it is about keeping more of your money. So the question is, do you have life insurance? Do you have an emergency fund? What happens in the case of an emergency? What happens if you can't work for a month? Are you properly protected? Kind of gives the whole gambling to make more money a real sobering look now, doesn't it? So, the first thing you should be focused on is protecting what you do have and protecting your future wealth. Set up a protection framework and then save. Save. Now, I know and you know that saving is important. We've been told that saving was important by every elder who's come in our life. But did you know the reason why? Well, let me explain. Saving is important because not only does it allow you to absorb life's emergency blows, consider an emergency, most of them ranging between $300 to $1,000, emergencies that hit you. Of course, there are some people who their emergencies start at a cool 2,000. Well, most emergencies between $300 to $1,000. If you have a proper good savings, you'll be able to absorb that and not get frustrated, not get set back because your savings is a buffer. It's like the shock absorber on a vehicle. When you hit a pothole, you don't feel exactly what the car feels because there is a suspension system that absorbs and buffers the force. Okay, and so that's what savings does. It buffers that emergency. So let's say, for example, you have $3,000 in savings, and then you get a hit for $700. That brings you down to $2,300. What do you still have? $2,300. What can you still work your way back up to? $3,000. And you can take your time to do it because you're still buffered against the average amount of emergency funds. So it's important for you to build a savings because you want to buffer your life from the harshness of emergencies that don't ask for permission and don't ask for your cooperation. They just show up. Secondly, when you do what I suggest and I teach, you save at least 6 months of expenses, and some financial planners say 3 to 12 months, and I love that as well because it really depends on your risk tolerance. I stick it right in the middle because 6 months is a good amount. It's half a year, for goodness sakes. And you think about that when you have 6 months of your expenses saved up. I don't know that number. You know that number because you will have created your budget. If not, don't worry, we're getting there. So when you save up 6 months of expenses, guess what else you can do? Take some time off from work. Well, why would you want to do that? Well, for one, mental health. Number two, maybe you're in the wrong industry and you finally, once and for all, want to take a risk and you want to take a leap of faith and position yourself in the industry of your dreams. Well, you'll be able to take some time off, a leave of absence, they call it, and test your abilities in the industry of your dreams. But you couldn't do that if you didn't have a way to support yourself for a couple months. So savings are important because not only do you buffer yourself from life's emergencies, but you can position yourself to achieve the life that you want. So now, what do you do after you've saved up 6 months or 3 to 12 months of expenses? Well, everything after that, you invest. And you invest because of something called inflation. Inflation robs the dollar, robs money of its value every single year. And so when you invest your money, you stay or attempt to stay ahead of inflation so that what your dollar buys today, $1.20 will buy tomorrow. But because your investment goes up $1.30, you're still ahead of the inflation curve. Let's look at the challenge for today. Evaluate which of the three stages you are on now. That's a wonderful reflection. Where are you in your financial plan? Are you protected? Are you saving? Or are you building your wealth? Because you've already protected your wealth and you've already saved emergency expenses, and you're ready now to grow your finances for the future and generations to come. Take a moment, reflect on it, so that you can see where you are in your financial journey. Day 9. I agree with Warren Buffett. Many of you know about the multi-billionaire Warren Buffett, who his company and Berkshire Hathaway and Bank of America, among his portfolio of companies that he's invested in, have done very well for him, and he is celebrated as one of the wisest investors. And his approach is very simple. He says, invest in what you believe in. And so one of the things that many people don't know about Warren Buffett, though, is that although he's a multi-billionaire, he has chosen to leave only $100,000 of his will and of his money to each child, donating the rest to charity. Now, how mean and difficult to comprehend is that a parent who has amassed so much wealth would only leave a drop in the bucket relative to that wealth for their children as their inheritance. Why would he even do that? And how terrible am I for saying that I agree with that? Well, let me explain. I'm sure he's seen what growing up in riches can do to the second generation of self-made millionaires, people who bled, sweat, and teared to make their fortunes, and their children were born into all of that wealth. And we know the term that is usually used to describe them, a spoiled something. But and I'm sure he's seen many spoiled somethings rubbing shoulders with colleagues, but he decided he wanted his children to understand what it meant and what it took for him to amass his wealth. So I agree with that concept and that principle that your children or your children's children should never be isolated from the sacrifices that it took to put your family in another financial bracket. And whatever you, as the parent, as the guardian, have to do in order to make sure that they are not insulated from all of the pain, the sacrifices, all of the investment that it takes to actually be successful, the better your children will become, because their values will be stronger, their morals will be stronger, and the way they treat other people, it will be more hospitable, because they will understand that we are all on this journey together, and no one is No one deserves to be treated less than humane. So let's move to the challenge. Explore a safeguard to keep your own children grounded. How about that? Okay, if you don't have any children, that's you dodged a bullet there. You have one less challenge to do in this journey. Day 10. The power to get wealth. Who gave you the strength to wake up and to be about your business? That's a question that can be debated from here to the end of the universe, because we live in a society where people have so many different beliefs, and each person's belief is their own. But as you know, I am a believer in the Lord Jesus Christ, and I believe that God gives us the power to get wealth. I believe that we all have the ability to attract wealth, and this was placed in us by our Creator. And life has a way of giving us different labels and giving us different restraints that we were never meant to take on. And so I believe that it's important for each and every one of us to get back to a place where we are in communication with our Creator so that we can unlock the power to get wealth. And of course, I have a passage from the Old Testament, Deuteronomy 8 and 17, where it says the same, that God has given us power to get wealth. And so we'll move to the challenge for the day. Give thanks for the supernatural help you've received from above. Day 11. The rule of 72 helped me to shape my understanding of growing funds and growing income. It's a method for finding out when your money will double, how long it will take you to double your money based on the percentage yield of your investment. So if you have a 2% investment, if you have a 5% investment, 12% investment, you can use the rule of 72 to find out how long it's going to take for that investment to double in money. So it's a pretty straightforward day, and you can just go through it and learn about the rule of 72. And let's go to the challenge. Grab a pen and use the rule of 72 today. Day 12. Cash or credit? It seems like we've talked about credit so much in this walkthrough. We heard about bad credit and good credit. We heard about using your credit and spending it, and using your credit and investing it. Now we come to the debate over cash or credit. Of course, there are benefits to both, and I personally love cash because cash you feel when it leaves you. And this is what I kind of explain in day 12, that we've become technologically spoiled into being disconnected from our purchases because we use the cards a lot. It is a common financial tactic that if you want to get back in touch with your finances, and who would want to do this? You know, there are people who um, go out and they will swipe, swipe, swipe and spend their money. And then at the end of the month, or when they finally take a good look at their finances, they're surprised at all of the money they spent. And when they look at it, for what? On frivolous things. If ever you get to a point in your life where you want to be more in touch with your finances, put the card away and start spending cash. And I promise you, it will hurt every time you have to separate and part from a dollar bill, or a $10 bill, $20 bill, 50. Oh no, not the 100. Yes, when you have that new, crisp, uncreased $100 bill, and you have to part with it, there's no feeling like it. And I'm not talking about a good feeling. I'm talking about a gut-wrenching feeling that you just wish you didn't have to let go of it. It's a type of involvement that you don't get with just swiping a card. Of course, credit has its advantages. It's available at a lot of places, and it's quicker and it's less to carry. You don't have to worry about sanitizing your hand all the time. But cash does have a lot more advantages. Usually, there are a lot of deals, especially if you go to side street markets or boutiques where you don't have this huge corporate machine that doesn't make any concessions. You're able to go and bargain with people. Quick story, you know, my mother once taught me, because she used to work in Chinatown in Manhattan. They have Chinatowns all over. And I would watch in amazement as she haggled down the price and just took something that was $20 down to $12 or $11. The merchant would grab the money and protest because he can't believe that he was swindled out of a good portion of his profits. But I would just be amazed at how she was able to bargain and negotiate. And so one day she told me, you have to use cash. But I didn't get the whole story, and I didn't do it exactly right. So I did go back to Chinatown and use cash for my experiment, where I was trying to broaden my horizons and spread my wings and do it without her, and show that I could get a deal as well. But I forgot to show the money. So I had the money in my wallet, but I just mentioned that I have a certain amount of money. The person said, well, no, I can't let it go for that price because it's too low. And I just walked away saying, where's the magic? It didn't work for me. And then when I told her, she said, one thing you forgot to do. You did great. You just forgot to show the money. You've got to show the money, because once the merchant sees the money, they're not going to want you to put that money back in the wallet. And so that was my fatal mistake. And from that day forward, every time I engaged in a negotiation, a bargain, I remembered that it doesn't matter if I have the money, I've got to show the money. So there you have it. Cash has so many benefits to it, because you're able to make deals and you're able to bargain better, partly because you really don't want to part with physical money that easily. So you'll go a little harder and be more passionate when it comes to bargaining and negotiating. So let's look at the challenge. Today seems like a good day for a cash only purchase. Wow. Yeah, it does feel like a great cash only purchase, doesn't it? Look at that sun. So find a way to put the card away and take your cash out and try to get a good cash deal. And I say deal because, yes, you're going to try to negotiate. Try to get a good deal that is purchased with cash. Day 13, multiple streams of income. I must confess, I am jack of all trades, and as they say, master of none. I like to do a lot, and sometimes doing a lot can get in the way because you lack focus. Now, when it comes to your income, there could be a benefit to having more than one stream of income. This is what we talk about in day 13. They call it putting all your eggs in one basket. You kind of don't want to put all of your eggs in any one basket. Part of protecting your finances is not only setting up your insurance and your last will and testament and all of those things, but it's also making sure that no one income is your sole source. And we call this multiple streams of income. And what happens is when you develop different ways of getting paid, it does two things. It prevents any one way of getting paid from being your taskmaster. So let's say, for example, a job. When you have a multiple streams of income and you are working a job, your boss kind of loses that much more power the more this second stream of income grows. The second benefit that you derive from starting multiple streams of income is that in the event that one income stream ends or is seasonal, you have another way to support yourself until that income stream kicks back up again. Or if there's some reason, a legal, a health-wise reason why you cannot engage in one income stream, you have a fallback. So it's important for you on this journey of building and developing, mastering your money mindset to embrace the idea of starting more than one income. Let's look at the challenge. What skill or talent can become another stream of income? That's a good question. Consider what hidden talent or skill you have that can be cultivated into a new stream of income. Day 14, follow the mindset. At its most basic and crude form, success can be broken down into two phases. Number one, find someone who has success, the success that you want. Number two, do what they do or do what they have done. Now, that means shifting your mindset and mastering your money mindset, changing from different mentalities. Sometimes you have to change from a poor man's mentality to a wealthy man's mentality. Sometimes you have to transition from an employee mentality to a business owner mentality. Or sometimes you have to change from a renter's mentality to a homeowner's mentality. Whatever success looks like to you, you find a person who is successful and then you pattern what they do. And that's what we talk about and follow the mindset. It's really figuring out the qualities that you see in a person who has the success that you want. I always remember the quote that said, "I pity the man who receives $1 million who isn't a millionaire," highlighting the fact that it's not about the money, it's about the mindset. Because if a person gets $1 million, but their mind is not a millionaire mind, that money will lose its way down to the level where their mindset is. So if they're 100-aire, if they're 1,000-aire, then they will spend that money until they get back to 100, until they get back to 1,000. And I thought that was really sad. And it was one of those key moments where I further entrenched myself in learning how to master my money mindset. Let's look at the challenge. Ask your 3 closest people in one word, what does money mean to you? It'll be fascinating to see and hear what they say. Day 15, develop a budget. Now, this is one of the most important things that determines your financial success. So many people try to invest and they try to champion their finances without even taking the first step. And the first step is discovering what you are actually spending. So it baffles me that people are trying to get ahead in their finances and they haven't even plugged up all the holes. What do I mean when I say plugged up all the holes? If you're spending a $20 or $50 a week in an area, let's say, for example, entertainment or on food, eating out at restaurants or going out with friends, and it becomes such a part of your life that you don't even think about it, you don't even question or scrutinize that purchase or that expense, you're leaking that money every single week, and it's so natural to you, it's so comfortable to you that you don't even realize it's fighting against your financial plan. So the first step to really getting a handle on the future of your finances or where you want your finances to be is to actually track your finances today. Have an understanding of where each dollar is being allocated. And it's just financial stewardship. It's just financial discipline and being responsible. But it always baffles me, and that's one of the first areas that I usually have to coach someone in is the area of budgeting. You have to create a budget. It is so important. Please do not move on in any financial plan that you have for yourself and your finances without first stopping to create a budget. I can't underscore how anymore how important it is for you to create a budget. And so that's one of the things that I offer help with. And I suggest if you haven't created a budget, you're intimidated by one, let me help you. Let's work together because your financial future is not just for you, it's for your family, it's for your children, your children's children. And it all starts with financial education and creating a budget. So let's look at the challenge. Create or refresh your budget today. And if you don't have a budget and you're afraid, intimidated to create one because of how daunting and how detailed you have to be, daunting it can be, and how detailed you have to be, well, just you can go to my coaching page and let's connect and get some support. But you have to get this done. It's so important to your financial future. Day 16, get your own. One of the hard lessons I've had to learn about any type of success, and this this day covers an overarching general success mindset principle, and it's important for you to understand this in any aspect of your personal development journey, whether it's developing your finances or developing your goals or your vision or developing your attitudes and your personality. It's important for you to understand this, that you need to have your own skin in the game. And I tell a story of how one of my mentors, and that's another aspect. Let me just stick a pin right there. Um, you can try to be successful on your own. You can, by all means, do it. But I've learned the value of mentorship. I've learned the value of getting a coach and having a coach, someone there who is able to help you see around the corners. And that's the key here. You can plug away at whatever mission you want to engage in, but the question is, how much time will you waste? And time is the most valuable resource. Time is more important than money, because guess what? Money, if you lose it, you can get it back. But if you waste 1 hour of your life, can you really get that back? If you waste a year doing something that could have been shortened, the time frame could have been condensed, you could have accelerated your progress, can you get that time that you've wasted back? Absolutely not. So that is why I believe time is more important than money, because it's more of a rare and delicate resource. So that's what you're dealing with when you get a coach, a mentor, someone who will help you and guide you to the place that you want to be. And you're saving time. You're getting your life back, essentially. So whenever you have a mentor or a guide or a coach in your life, there will always be this subtle temptation to pull on coattails and ride on their energy, ride on their story, ride their enthusiasm for you. I'll put it like this. Sometimes a mentor, someone who sees the potential in you, will want more for you than you want for yourself. And this is an important thing to understand, because when someone wants something for you more than you want it for yourself, then that is a bit of uh, an unhealthy place to be, because it's up to the individual. And I've had to learn this on both ends of the spectrum. I learned this as a person being coached, and I also learned this as a coach. So the person receiving mentorship and the person giving mentorship. So I've seen it from both perspectives and both angles, and I realize how subtle, how tempting it is for a person to say, "Well, you've already got this success, so why don't you just throw me a line, or help me out, or pay my way, or do it for me." And but it's never said, but it shows in the actions. It shows in the lack of discipline, the lack of priorities, the lack of personal responsibility. And that's what we're talking about here today: personal responsibility. And as you can see, I'm going on and on about it, and it doesn't seem to have anything to do with finances, does it? Well, that's where you would be wrong and I would be right, because uh, financially, taking personal responsibility is the unseen key that will help you to move from accepting or looking for handouts, whether it be from parents, uh, successful parents, friends, families, or even the government, to actually standing on your own 2 feet, establishing a financial structure that can help you weather the storms of life, and moving and building and growing on your own financial foundation. That takes personal responsibility. So yeah, it's relative to what I'm talking about, and what I'm talking about is relative to our greater topic of um, financial management, or more specifically, mastering your money mindset. So, getting back to the point, it was important for me to learn that although you have access to a person who's got the success that you're looking for, a person who has could, at the snap of a finger, could solve a great deal of your problems just by one stroke of the pen. It You have to fight that temptation of uh or rather two, ask them for what is called a handout. If you've already made it, so why don't you just give me a hand? Why don't you just do this for me this one time, and I'll be all right from then on? For example, in the example that I share, uh, a mentor would say you have to be at this event or you have to be at that event. As you know already, where millionaires gather, that's where you want to be. So uh, you could have an event where millionaires would gather, but instead of working to find your own admission, find the funds to support yourself and actually make the sacrifice to get there. The temptation to say to the person who is guiding you or is mentoring you, hey, why don't you pay my plane fare and pay my admission so that I can make the change that you want me to make? It doesn't work like that. If if you don't get skin in the game, if you don't make a sacrifice, then you won't challenge yourself to leave the place of comfort that you're stuck in. And the place of comfort is deceptive because it makes you feel like you can live there forever. But the truth and the reality is, if you stay there forever, you will regret the person that you become if you continue to live based on comfort. So, bottom line is, in any change that you have to make, financially or otherwise, it's important for you not to wait for other people or other institutions to bail you out. And I know that sounds really crazy when you hear about banks being bailed out by the government, but that's a whole different macroeconomic situation that's happening there. I'm talking about you and your finances. So let's go to the challenge. Have you ever looked for a handout? Explain. Now, be honest. Be honest with yourself throughout this process, so that you would be able to examine where that grab for a handout comes from. What's the source of it? Where did it start from? And how can you overcome it? That's the important um, aspect of this challenge. It's really to help you to reflect so that you can find the source of that little man or little woman that's telling you, ask for a handout, take the easy way out. Day 17, compound interest. Albert Einstein once said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. Oh, wow. What a quote and what a concept. Interest that compounds. So, just briefly to help you understand what compound interest is, it's interest that is accrued on interest that you already accrued before. So let's say, for example, you have $1 and then you get 10% on that dollar the next month, right? So then that dollar will turn to $1.10. Now, compound interest says, let's put another 10% on the $1.10 instead of fixed interest, which will say, okay, 10% of $1 is 10 cents and it's another month. So let's go to add another 10 cents, which is fixed interest, onto the dollar. So the second month you will have $1.20. But in compound interest now, you'll have $1.10 and then 10 cents, or rather 10% of $1.10. And it goes on and on, growing, growing as the months go on. So that um 5 or 10, 15 months down the line, your interest that is added is way more than just 10%. So interest that compounds grows over time. And the banks, the credit institutions that use compound credit, they have been uh, building and growing their wealth through interest that accrued upon interest in our life. And in some of these terms, I hope you understand them, but if not, that go back to day one, which is financial literacy. It's important. So compound interest is a powerful tool if you can get it to work for you. And all of the compound interest has been working against you. Now you get to take an opportunity to think about this powerful financial concept, and it's important for you to get with a person who can teach you how to put it to work for you. Okay, and that's also what I teach. I share with people how um, they can strategize to put compound interest on their side. So let's look at the challenge. Visit the compound interest calculator at investor.gov/tools. Okay, and when you take a look at that, it will show you without any doubt how powerful compound interest is. And it's important for you to go to the calculator. Don't just read about it. Actually go there, test it out, try it. You're probably already online. You're probably accessing a digital device right now that can go to that site and go to that calculator. And the important thing is for you to actually see the numbers, because just me telling you, it won't be the same as you seeing the numbers and the growth, the exponential growth that can take place over time with compound interest. You have to see it. It really is an eighth wonder of the world. Day 18, Wealth of Knowledge. This day is pretty straightforward and pretty simple to understand. It's the idea comes from me reminding everyone that the advice you take will determine the lifestyle that you will have. So if if you get your financial advice from broke people, well, you get a pretty good picture of where that financial journey will lead you, and where that financial journey will end. But if you take advice from successful people, people who have the success that you're looking for, then you can also determine and discern where that financial journey will end as well. So it's just a simple reminder, and it is a part of mastering your money mindset, because you have to know that unsolicited advice from people who are not going in the direction that you want to go, it can be a distraction to your financial goal. So it's important for you to block out all of the unsolicited advice that comes from unqualified parties, and make sure that your knowledge, the knowledge that you are acquiring, has wealth attached to it. Because if you take a person's advice, you will take on their lifestyle as well. So let's go straight to the challenge, because I believe it's pretty straightforward. Identify someone who can give you good financial advice. And as you read that, I want to stress and emphasize what that word "can" means. It doesn't mean identify someone who has the ability to move their mouth and vibrate their vocal cords and just tell you anything that they've seen or heard about finances, but someone who actually knows what they're talking about. All right, take good financial advice, and this is a great place for me to let you know all of the things that I can offer, and that I can share with you regarding budgeting, creating a financial plan, creating a financial structure, looking at the vision that you have, and at the end of the day, just holding you accountable to the goals that you have set, the dream that you have ahead of you, and not allowing you to sabotage your own financial success. So, if that can help, then you can go to michaeldeer.com/coaching and take it from there. And I would love to sit down, talk with you, and have an opportunity to see how we can help each other and you can get support on this journey. Day 19, Emergency Fund. What we're about to share isn't a new concept because we've already talked about setting up an emergency fund. I do believe it's important because life happens, and when you have an emergency fund, you buffer more of life happening to you. So I like to say that when you have an emergency fund, it's less of life happening to you and more of life happening for you, because the emergencies, they do not ask your permission to show up, and that's why they call them emergencies, because they just emerge. Okay. You cannot schedule an emergency. It doesn't work like that. So the emergency security fund is really just to buffer your emergencies, life happening, coming at you. And just think about that. How much stress, how much frustration, how much anxiety would that lift off of your shoulders if you did not have to worry about any emergencies coming up, because you knew that you were covered and you were completely buffered from those emergencies? Yeah, and that's what we're talking about. When you set up an emergency fund or a security fund, you're able to just be free from those concerns. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't have to worry about anything coming up, but it does mean that when they do come up, you are in a much better place to recoil, to reestablish yourself, and get back to a place of peace, because you know that you have the resources there to cover any issue that comes up. So again, I talk about the 6 months of savings after you have saved the $1,000 emergency fund, because the $1,000 emergency fund is the triage. You've got to do that immediately. Set that up immediately. It doesn't matter what your financial standpoint is until you have gone past that phase. So it's stages. If anyone asks me uh, about the first financial checkpoint, or the first financial stepping stone, it's to set up that emergency fund. If you've already set that up, great, wonderful, congratulations, you're on to the next phase, 6 months of expenses. And if you've already set that up, you already have 6 months of expenses, you don't really need the $1,000 emergency fund, because that was just a holdover until you were able to save your true security fund, which is your savings. And then what happens after you have your savings? Then everything else on top of that, that's investment money. And you need to invest it. You don't save beyond 6 months, or you don't save beyond 12 months. And of course, we talked about this earlier, that there is a window. It's anywhere from 3 to 12 months, depending on how aggressive you want to be, or depending on how conservative you want to be with the amount of security you're looking for in your life at this point. But I usually stick at the 6 month mark because it's right there in the middle. So, in case you didn't hear, or in case you need me to just clarify it once again, an emergency fund, security fund, is a critical component to your financial success. And that brings us to the challenge. Let's look at what the challenge is for the day. Set due dates for your emergency and security fund. Set them. Give it a definite deadline. And one thing I always teach is that if a goal does not have a date and a quantity, it is a weak goal and it's just a wish. It's just a dream. But you can make it a reality by putting a quantity and a date to it. So set due dates for your emergency and security funds. Day 20, The Millionaire Next Door. It's so easy to think that a millionaire has a certain look, that when you see a person that has the look of money, that they must have money. And I think now more than ever, that idea, the ideal of what a millionaire looks like, is so fluid and so skewed, because you have both people who have access to things that look expensive. For example, the technology to knock anything off is so accurate and precise. So to the point where you can purchase a handbag or a watch that can give you the look of wealth, but be as worthless as an old dollar bill that is out of circulation. I think now more than ever, it's much easier to fool people. Day 20, The Millionaire Next Door. What does a millionaire look like? I'm sure you have an image in your mind. I'm sure you've had examples of millionaires that you could piece together. Most likely, they're from television or the media. Perhaps it could be a celebrity that you know or have heard of in some sensational news. But I'd like to help you by demystifying and breaking the mold of what a millionaire looks like. Because now more than ever, with precise and accurate technology, any person can have the look of a millionaire. Anyone can purchase a watch or a handbag or shoes that look just like the real thing. Also, with the ability to rent vehicles, exotic vehicles, for a daily, weekly, or monthly rate, anyone can rent a vehicle, take a couple of shots, post it on Facebook, social media, and have the look of wealth. And conversely, real millionaires, they don't always have to look like they're millionaires. As a matter of fact, the person you may run into at the next As a matter of fact, the person you may rub shoulders with at your next 7-Eleven run may look unassuming in their sweats and their Crocs and hoodie, but you'd be surprised. Cryptocurrency and other derivative, fascinating investments have made secret millionaires out of the most unassuming people. And day 20 is one such story where I learned a valuable lesson that you don't put an image on what a millionaire looks like, because not all millionaires are reality TV stars with a whole bunch of drama, doing things and making themselves up in a way to create a public spectacle wherever they go. As a matter of fact, most millionaires you've never even heard of. And guess what? They like it that way. And that's because not all millionaires want to be celebrities. They prefer to have anonymity and obscurity because it allows them to enjoy their wealth without all of the hype or without all of the criticism. So the next time you see an individual that might look like, so the next time you see an individual that looks like they need a little help, think twice. They might be able to help you. The challenge for today is watch a clip of Secret Millionaire or Undercover Boss. These two shows are shows that really help to level the playing field about what wealth looks like and what a millionaire looks like. And you can easily find a clip on YouTube. And I don't like to use that word easy because the things that are easy to do are also the things that are easy not to do. So I never want to cozy up to the word easy and help things to be easy for you to do, because that also means that they're easy not to do. But I encourage you to just take a moment, perhaps 30 minutes of your life, 15 minutes of your life, and watch one clip from either of these shows so that you can also get a vision for how you will spend your first million. Day 21, Growth Fund. Some children get brand name sneakers for their birthdays. I've even seen babies in Timberland boots. Now, if you don't know what Timberland boots are, they're for hiking or mountain climbing, on babies that can't even walk yet, while other people in other families are setting up funds for their children, buying bonds or having investments with a newborn's name on it, so that as they grow, those children grow with an investment that is also building, growing, developing as their life progresses. I would like to bring your attention to a thought to help our money mindset, especially with your own children. Or you may not have children. You may be an uncle, a niece, a big brother, or big sister, or some community member, maybe a godparent, that has access to a child that is about to grow or has just begun life. I would like to encourage you to extend your money mindset to a family who may have different priorities. I'd like to encourage you right here to extend your money mindset to a family who may have different priorities by offering that child, that new life that's coming into the world, an investment that will grow with them. It's that simple. The challenge for today is to research trust accounts and trust fund practices. What this will do is it will give you insight into a whole new world of living and a whole new world of financial planning and structuring that has your child's or your nephew, nieces, godchildren, little brother, little sister's future at heart. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't take a lot to begin a growing investment for your child. And that's what I do. I help people to find and guide and direct them to the right type of investments. So let's connect and start the process. Of changing one child's life. Day 22. Money is manure. Now, I know this sounds contradictory to the thought that is on the back of the book, Money isn't everything, but it sure is important. I can only imagine how um, much of a contrast it can be to hear me say that money is manure. Although to the average person, manure doesn't sound like anything good, especially when we consider that thick, pungent, sharp undertone of grass and bush. It's quite hard to find an appeal to something as something as crude and disgusting as animal waste. Did I creep you out yet? Hopefully not. Well, to a gardener, manure is totally different. Manure is life giving, it is fertilizing, it helps to make things grow. And so, by shifting your perspective to look at it in a different way, and that's the reason why we included this idea in the money mindset journey, because it's important for you to think like a gardener. Whenever you're applying money, think like a gardener. If you heap up manure in one place, it will stink. But if you spread it around, it will encourage growth. And this is the idea behind day 22. If you spread your money around, it will help things to grow. So the challenge for today is find a worthy cause and use your manure to help it grow. And I'm sure, based on where you are in your financial journey, there may be certain temptations to hoard your money and hold on to it and just keep it safe. But remember what we said earlier. Remember this part of the money mindset, that money is a tool. It is something that is used to do things. It is not the end all. It is some people use money to keep score, and more power to them. But it goes beyond just keeping score and understanding how valuable you're worth based on how much money you have. Imagine the example again. Let's remember the illustration again. Uh, let's remember the illustration again. Money is a tool. So no one goes out just to collect hammers. You have to be a really special type of person to collect a hammer and just heap them up and pile them up. No, if a person's going to collect hammers, then most likely it is proportionate to the work, the amount of work they intend to do. Because no one collects hammers just to collect them. They collect hammers because they know they have a lot of nails to bang down. And so they're probably going to need spares. All right, so remember that. Money is a tool and money is a manure. Spread it around, find a worthy cause, and invest in it. Day 23. Let your money work for you. In the previous day, we just finished talking about what money is. Money is manure. Money is to be spread around, and money is a tool. It's supposed to be used to do things. So, as a tool, your money is supposed to work. Unfortunately, many people just work for their money. Imagine a CEO with the coveted corner office looking at his employees and saying, "Hey, today I will work for you. What would you like me to do? What should I be spending my day doing? You tell me, what goals do you set for me?" The employees would look at that CEO like they're crazy and like they just lost their marbles. Why is that? Because the employees are looking to the CEO for guidance. So if the CEO says, "Well, you tell me what I should do," they're looking at him saying, "Well, We came here to work for you. So this is not our responsibility, it's your responsibility. And that's what some people, their money is asking them. What do you want us to do? Put us to work. But unfortunately, many people are too busy working for money. So in day 23, we go through an example that I hope will give you a visual and give you insight into the way you should structure your finances and the way you should deal with your finances, the mindset to master when it comes to handling your finances. Your money is supposed to work for you. You are supposed to put your money out there and it should get more employees. And that is the key. So today's challenge is to evaluate who is the boss and who is the employee, you or money. So take a moment and think, reflect, be honest with yourself. Am I working for money or is my money working for me? Do I send it out to do work and to give me an increase? Or am I working just so that I can have more money? Think about it, and it will help you to discover your place along your financial journey and your progress towards financial freedom. Day 24, Fiscal Fast. My world opened up and I began to think about things differently in personal economy and personal finances when I heard about something called a fiscal fast. Now, long story short, it's an idea of taking a day off from spending money or perhaps a week off. Depends on your tolerance and your ability to challenge yourself. Taking some time off from spending money. So that means a period of time, you decide how long, a period of time where you do not spend a dollar. Now, I know some of you are cringing right now at just the thought of not spending any money. However, it is a creative challenge that allows you to take a real cold, hard, objective look at how you're spending your money and who's in charge. We just talked about in day 23 the employee and the employer, you or money, who's in charge. And we also talked earlier about the emotional wallet. So the fiscal fast, it helps you to make sure that you are in charge of your finances and the way you spend your finances. And you will be able to finally get creative with meals and transportation. I'll tell you when our family did a fiscal fast and yes, of course it was a past tense. I can do one at any time and it helps to remind you to be grateful for so many things. You can learn about it and you can also engage in your own fiscal fast. You begin to appreciate the things that you took for granted. For example, those meals and those beans and cans at the back of the pantry that have never seen the light of day because you just keep stuffing new food in front of it. Or how about those items in the freezer that are just frozen and near frostbitten because you just keep putting new stuff in because you feel like you need fresh food instead of appreciating the food that you do have. So, bottom line is a fiscal fast. It is a period of time where you make a decision, you and your family make a decision to not spend any money. And I also share, I guess, a couple of places that you can go and watch, shows that you can watch show people in the middle of this lifestyle of saving money, being conservative, being prudent. Some would say being frugal, and refraining from excess spending, to always keep themselves in charge of their funds. And it's amazing how far a dollar can go when you are intentional about how you spend it. There are families right now who have multiple, over 10 children, but yet they're able to do things, go on trips, have a decent quality of life because they, on a working person's budget, they've learned to not spend frivolously. So it's an important topic to research because it definitely has an influence on your money mindset. You will find out once and for all who is in charge. And if you need an accountability partner to keep you honest in the time that you've chosen for your fiscal fast, then look no further. We can connect and get the support that you need. So the challenge here is commit to a 1, 3, 5, or even a 7-day fiscal fast within the next 2 weeks. That's right. So grab your calendar, go ahead, get it, and find the date 2 weeks from now. And if you really want to challenge yourself in this area, because remember, this book is not just about an easy read, it's about action steps. So, a great portion of this book is the aftercare, the ability to read, learn something, but then taking the next step and putting what you've learned into action. Studies have shown that if you read but don't act, the knowledge stays there, but nothing gets changed. You don't do anything with it. It's you. The mind holds on to things, and the more you share it, the more you talk about it, you feel as though you're doing something about it. But the people who really win at a life change are the individuals who take action immediately. So commit to a fiscal fast in the next 2 weeks. And if you could find a way to leave a comment or message me on your experience, because I would love to hear what your experience is. I guarantee you it's going to change your life. Day 25, eBay, Craigslist, and Amazon. I know that in our digital society, there are more places to do shopping and more e commerce platforms than these three. However, I call these my online deal triangle. Sometimes I go into physical stores and I just scratch my head and wonder, why would I pay full price for this? Or why would I pay your price for this? And regardless of your financial status, regardless of your ability to buy a whole store or not, what's the point? We just talked about in day 24 the fiscal fast and reminding yourself who's in charge of your finances, you or your emotions. What I like to do is go window shopping, and then for the deal that I want, for the price that I want to pay, I go to one of these three deal platforms and find the price that I want to pay. And so, of course, Amazon of the three has grown in the last couple of years to become this just monster of an e-commerce offering. And so, and look at the deals that you can get on these platforms. And of course, there are many that I don't mention here. This is just me sharing what works for me. And so I spend a great deal of time and a great deal of money looking for deals on things that we need so that of the money that I make, I keep more of it. Which brings us to our challenge. Compare your next purchase on these sites to see the amount you can save. It costs you nothing to just turn on the computer, fire up the internet, fire that thing up, fire up that their internet, and compare how what you are about to purchase or what you're thinking of purchasing in a store or a major brand compares to the price that you can get on any of these platforms. Day 26, move the world of wealth. There's so many things that we have to do and so little time to do them. What would you do if you had more time? Did you ever wish that you can make more time? We all do, don't we? Sadly, the truth about that is that's the start of the problem. Wishing you had more time. Folks, we only have 24. And the more we wish for more time, the further, deeper we steep ourselves in a fantasy that cannot become reality. What you need to do and what we need to do is we need to realize all we get are 24 hours, nothing more. We don't get anything more. And so we now have to turn our attention to maximizing and optimizing those 24 units of time that every single human being gets today. And so that brings us to the topic we talk about in day 26, leverage. Leverage, especially leveraging your time. You can leverage your money, you can leverage your time. And the most important thing is leveraging your time. And I talk about that in earlier days of the book, where time is the more valuable resource because we can never get it back. And so it's important for you to know that time management is also a part of mastering your money mindset. Because as the old adage says, time is what? That's right. Time is money. So, as we move the world of wealth forward, I give the example of a business owner who is a sole proprietor versus a business owner who is a CEO, and how that CEO gets more done, how that big business owner gets more done. And of course, that's a reference to Robert Kiyosaki. He had the cash flow quadrant. Go look that up as well. The cash flow quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki, because it helps you to see the different types of business structure and how each of them work and the limitations of each and the benefits of others. So in this example, the CEO is able to take the same 8 hours of work that we get, but through leverage, they're able to do 800 hours of work in a 24-hour period. Isn't that amazing? 800 work hours stuffed, crammed, packed into just 24 hours of living. And so that, my friends, can only be done through something called leverage. And we talk about it in day 26 so that you can find out how, discover it, and find out how it can work for you. And guess what? If you don't know exactly how it can work for you and how you can implement leverage into your life and in your business structure, look no further. Connect with me. Let's start a call. Let's start a conversation so that you can get the help that you need. Let's look at the challenge. Here's a question that you can ask yourself. How can I leverage myself through other people? And you can take a moment to reflect on it. And if you'd like to go a step further, give me a call. Drop me a line. After, of course, you ask yourself this question, because we want to make sure that you've got some skin in the game, that you've done the footwork of actually reflecting on the question and in gathering, even if it's not the perfect, precise answer, general area that you can come and say, hey, Mike, I've been thinking about this, and this is what I've been thinking. Am I in the general ballpark? Help me out here. But just start with something. Okay, whenever you are working with professionals or working with advisors, it's important for you to actually do some footwork and have something to offer in terms of a direction or things that you've been thinking about. It makes the process go a whole lot better and a whole lot smoother. Day 27. Get multiple quotes. Dr. Mike Murdoch, an amazing man who has a wealth of knowledge and wisdom, he once taught me the value of getting multiple quotes for everything. Now, if you're a woman listening to this, then it may feel like I'm beating a dead horse because this is how you shop all the time. I've gone out many times with the women in my family, and we go from store to store, from window to window, sometimes never purchasing anything but just window shopping. Or have you ever heard the phrase, just browsing? That's right. Sometimes before you even make a purchase, you will have gone to 3 to 5 different stores to find 3 to 5 different prices. So women are at an advantage when it comes to this topic. Men, not so much, because I'll speak for myself. Whenever I go into a store, I pretty much have a direction for where I'm going. I know which aisle I'm going to. I know what I'm getting. I've already thought about it, and that's it. It settles it. No contest. I'm getting this, walking in the store, picking it up, going to the register, getting out of there. While it does save me time, it may not save me money. And so getting multiple quotes is kind of like the first example. Shopping around and being okay with shopping around. And as a matter of fact, don't be ashamed to tell your vendors, thank you for this quote. I'm just letting you know I'll be looking around. Because what it does is it could actually help you if that vendor feels like their position in your life or their position in their marketing plan to you is being jeopardized. They could knock off a 10% or a couple of dollars just to sweeten the deal because they know that you'll be seeking competition. We live in a capitalist society where competition helps us to set the price of the market. So get multiple quotes. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Let them know you're not the only act in town. You're not the only act in town. I'm going to be seeking another opinion. I will seek another quote and compare the two. And so I go into detail in day 27, and I encourage you to read those details so that you can fine tune how to get multiple quotes. And our challenge for today is compare quotes for your next purchase over $200. Now, that doesn't mean that any purchase under $200 is insignificant. It just gives you a point of qualification so that you can say, all right, well, this is one purchase I really need to get multiple quotes on. So next time you have a purchase over $200, take a minute, explain, or don't. Just pick up the phone, go on the internet, get a second opinion. Day 28, Board of Financial Advisors. Now, one thing you'll hear me talk about, or one person rather, you'll hear me talk about quite a bit is Robert Kiyosaki, because he helped to shape and change the way I view business and view wealth. The man helped me to understand that wealth is not about how much money you have, but how much time you buy yourself, how much of your life you purchase back, how much of your life you reclaim as your own asset to do with it what you please. Many people are working in jobs and their time is not their own. but wealth is defined, and he helped me to define wealth as the amount of time that you buy yourself back. Another concept he also talks about, and one that I freely distribute and share because it is life changing, it is world changing, is the fact that you can cheat on your tests. I know it sounds like cheating, doesn't it? Because we've been trained by our educational system to take tests alone, and life seldom works like that. Life, especially for anyone looking to be an entrepreneur or anyone looking to take their financial independence and make it their own. You never want to go it alone. You always want to have people around you who you can peek over and look at their test scores. But we're not used to that concept because we're taught to take our tests alone. And he so skillfully, so um, digestibly breaks this concept down so that you understand in life, especially in business, it's okay to cheat on your test. It's okay to look at someone else's paper, the paper of the person next to you, and see the answers and take the answers and use it on your own test. And of course, I'm not trying to degrade the morals of our children by talking about cheating on tests. It's a figure of speech to say that there are people who have the answers, and you don't have to feel ashamed about looking to them. Position yourself, get around them, get access to their life. Remember, we talked about the three things money buys? Money buys access. Get access to their information, get access to their experience and their knowledge, and create for yourself a board of financial advisors. So, a tax person, a good tax person, a good lawyer, a good CPA, real estate person, a good networker, someone who's a power broker, someone who you're able to ask them certain questions about where you want to go financially. Whoever those people are, they have spent time, they have spent their own money, and they have spent their energy developing and specializing in this particular area that you nor I would want to spend and sacrifice our time for. Instead of giving up time in our life chasing all of these areas of expertise, just find the right people, communicate with them, collect them, network with them so that they can be your board of financial advisors. I once saw a documentary about 90s pop star Janet Jackson, the sister of Michael Jackson, and how her meteoric rise in the late 90s and 2000 era. And it's not just because of her stunning good looks. She had a plan. She had a board of advisors, people who she trusted in the music industry and from other areas of a business, and she would gather them on a call, a conference call. She would tell them the things that she would like to do, and they would give suggestions or they would give comments or instruction, and she would implement them. And there was a time where you couldn't turn anywhere without hearing about Janet Jackson. So I'm just trying to share with you the power of creating a board of advisors, a board of financial advisors. And remember, it's okay to look at their tests. It's okay to look at their sheet. It's okay for you to go to them for the answers. If I have a tax question, instead of learning the tax law, I talk to my tax guy. If I have a legal question, instead of learning the law, I talk to my legal guy. And like I said earlier, when working with professionals, you want to do some footwork so that you shorten the curve of getting to a final vision. Especially if you are paying these individuals for their consultation, it's important for you to respect their time and respect your wallet. Don't waste time, because your time is valuable and their time is valuable. Do some footwork, get a general idea of where you want to go and the questions that you would like to ask them before booking their time, before booking their schedule. But do yourself a favor, create your financial advisory board today. And let's look at the challenge for today. Write the names of possible candidates for your board. So think about it. Go through all of the people near and dear to you, or think of the people who you would like to surround yourself with, possessing specialized knowledge that put together can give you the vision and insight to help you navigate your journey and avoid costly mistakes. Day 29, the best game in the world. My favorite board game of all time is Monopoly. No question, hands down, no contest. This game has been around for decades, almost a century, and with over 6 billion little green houses made, this game taught me the value of negotiation, taught me how to manage relationships, it taught me how to barter, the concept of making small improvements and seeing how improvements get you the result of making more. Teaches you risk and reward, money, dream, location, location, location. Monopoly teaches you so many business skills that it's not even a joke. It's not even a toy, a kid's game. It's a game that you can use to set your family up, your children up, for a financial success. And I encourage every household, if you've never heard about it, which I believe is impossible that you've never heard about the game of Monopoly, but in the likely event that you're that one person that hasn't heard about this game, I encourage you to just go out and get it. And if you're going to get one of those derivative games with the new card and the stuff where you don't feel the money in your hand, do yourself a favor. Get both. Get that new fancy themed version, but also get the original so that you can compare the two, because I believe the original stands on its own 2 feet, and it doesn't matter if it seems antiquated, it still holds its own today. The feel of holding that fake paper money in your hand, there's no feeling like it. This is where I have to tell you a little bit about me and my life. Unfortunately, I've been banned from playing the game of Monopoly because my wife says I turn into a different person once I get the dice in my hand. I don't know what that means, and quite frankly, I don't believe it, but it's not the first time that I've been wrong. But there's just something about this game that allows you to really evaluate how you make deals and how you negotiate and network with other people. And even talking about it right now, I'm trying so hard not to go off on a tangent and just give you a general overview, because you really have to read the book. You really have to look at day 29 and read the details. But there's so much that you can gain from this simple board game that was created almost a century ago. So the challenge for today is, if you do not own this game, get it and play it today. Well said, Michael Deere. Simple, to the point. Go out, grab a copy of the original, and play it with your family today. Everybody needs a goal. We all need something to focus our aim. And I can imagine that as you're reading this book and as we're going through this walkthrough, it can be kind of overwhelming, kind of intimidating, when you consider all of the things that go into mastering your money mindset. Let me be the first person to tell you, don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it cloud your judgment or or stress you out, just take it one day at a time. Just take it one decision at a time, and one habit at a time. Okay? So sure, we're going through and we're learning all of this stuff, and maybe even taking action steps, and as the days go on, you're probably going to have to leapfrog certain challenges just to make sure that you get them done in a reasonable time frame. But by no means do we want this to be an intimidating process for you. And if it happens to be, then you're kind of like me and you need a little more help than just going through a walkthrough. And I understand that so clearly. And that's the reason why I do offer personal one-on-one coaching so that we can go through this process together if you so choose. I'm the type of individual, I've tried home study courses, and while I do learn quickly, I also realize that I'm the type of person who needs accountability. I need help in order to make a change stick and make it a part of my life. I would say briefly connect. Let's see how we could work together, and don't make this process a challenging, overwhelming process that will discourage you. You have support if you need it. That brings me to our topic for today, day 30. $75,000. How do you know when you've turned the corner? How do you know when all of these things that we're talking about in this book, you're implementing them and you're starting to see the benefit of them? Well, first off, you will notice when you're able to simply manage everything you have. You'll know that uh, you'll know that when you're able to fix things quicker, when you're able to service things, when emergencies don't take a bite out of your life anymore, and you realize when you have something called disposable income. Your income, you're able to apply it without worrying what's going to happen. What are you taking it from? When you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. That is one sign that you are moving in a new financial direction. But studies have shown, and of course, because of inflation, this number has probably gone up quite a bit, because in the last years, inflation has gone up to record levels. And you could research that. But the the number that we talked about in this book, because the studies have shown that a $75,000 a year $75,000 a year threshold is the point where you realize you've reached a different financial bracket and a different financial status. And so, like I said, of course, that number has probably gone up to perhaps 80 or 90,000. When you save that amount, when your net worth approaches that number, when your income approaches that number annually, you begin to realize at that point that anything else you're adding on that number, it really does. And this is why we're sharing it. It really doesn't change your life that much after that point. So what am I trying to say here? That once you have a net worth of about 80,000, 75,000 to $90,000, you're basically living like a millionaire. Of course, as you get more funds and finances, you're able to do more things. But the studies that have been referenced in day 30 of the book, Master Your Money Mindset, they report that the the change in lifestyle after you reach that financial level compared to the millionaire, the multimillionaire, the multimillionaire and billionaire status, it doesn't really change much after that point. the contrast between a person that is making that amount of money per year and a multi millionaire is not that different. Now, if you're going from broke, busted, and disgusted to multimillionaire, the contrast is very stark. It's almost black and white. But when you are shielded from many of life's issues and emergencies and you're already making that level of finances, then to increase that to a multimillionaire and more, you're not really making that much of a difference in terms of happiness, in terms of difference of lifestyle, in terms of difference of access and options. So just a little tap on the shoulder, a cup of water as you run this marathon, so to speak, to let you know that you're probably closer than you think. As we wrap up this journey through mastering your money mindset. So as we wrap up our journey on mastering our money mindset, as we near our journey's end in mastering our money mindset, take a little comfort in knowing that a change of your life, financial independence, is not as far away as you might have thought initially. Let's look at our challenge. Be creative. What would I have to do to create a $75,000 income? It's a good question to ask and a great starting point. Considering your skills and your talents, what resources do you have? What opportunities do you possess to make that type of money? Day 31, the American Dream. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. America, the land of the free. What an amazing union of various states and counties. We live in a great place. We are in a blessed nation. We have opportunity to pursue our heart's happiness, liberty, life, and the pursuit of it all. At the heart of this idea called America was the dream that a man or woman could be what they wanted to be, that there were no limitations on the empire that they could build. And so we've come about this term called the American Dream. And the American Dream, David Bach, he creates a definition, and he's the creator of the automatic millionaire system. He explains, and I just gravitate towards this definition. He explains that the American dream is simply being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. Wow, what a powerful and clear definition. The American dream is being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And I go back to, Robert Kiyosaki. His life story exemplified that because he started out selling Velcro wallets. And if you listen to him or read his book, and he shares his story, he purchased 18 years of his life back by retiring early. And that's what we're talking about. Buying your life back, retiring early, doing what you want to do when you want to do it. Not listening to a boss, employee, not listening to any regulation that constrains your life, but putting yourself in a position where you can play golf on a Monday or Wednesday afternoon. How about that? When you see other people going into the office to start their work week, you're instead driving casually, not caring about traffic. In fact, waiting after traffic cools down to catch your tee off time at your local golf course or country club. Or how about decompressing on an uncrowded beach on a Tuesday or Thursday afternoon? Mm. For the freedom to be there for any event. As a matter of fact, I was so blessed to be positioned so that I could be home and available to see all of my children's first steps. Now, everyone may have their own definition of freedom, of financial success and financial freedom, but being a part of my children's lives and actually uh, giving them a future and where they can look back and say, Daddy was there. That means the world to me. And so that's how I prioritize my American dream. Just being able to see each of my children's first steps, being there, planning that time and saying, okay, I I don't care what is happening in my life for these next couple of days. I'm going to be glued to my children's progress, and I'm going to be there to catch their first steps. So, what does the American dream mean to you? Oh, you see, I jumped ahead of myself because that's actually the challenge for the day. Let's take a look at it. The challenge. What would your American dream look like? Ask yourself this question, find the answer, reflect on the answer. Because what your American dream looks like, because your American dream will be the thing that motivates you to make the changes, to discipline yourself, and to actually get up out of bed, to make the sacrifices that you need to make so that you can ultimately master your money mindset. Thank you for taking this journey with us. If this was helpful, like, subscribe, and check out the description for next steps and resources.